Check description for the introduction. Chapter 1 to the girls who survived toxic love, heartbreak, and the scars of abuse, swearing never to trust again. Yet, when the villain burned the world for you, avenging every wound, you couldn't help but fall for the darkness that became your salvation. Charles Everett entered the dimly lit warehouse, his steps deliberate and measured. The air grew heavier with his presence, and every man bowed in reverence and fear. To the underworld, he was Lucifer. A man sat bound to a chair at the center of the room, trembling, his voice hoarse from pleading. "Please, please, have mercy," he cried. Charles approached, a dangerous smirk curling on his lips. His voice, low and menacing, cut through the man's desperate sobs. "So, you're the one running the girls' trafficking ring?" "And no, it's not true," the man stammered, struggling against his bonds. Without a word, Charles picked up a scalpel and traced it across the man's face with brutal precision. Blood spilled in crimson streaks, and the man's screams echoed in the vast space. "Do you have any idea?" Charles growled, his voice colder than death. "How many lives you've destroyed?" I needed the money," the man gasped, his breaths ragged. "Money?" Charles's laugh was dark. He gripped the man's throat, his strength cutting off his air. 5 years, 5 years, and you thought you could operate under my nose?" The man choked, unable to respond. "You know the rules," Charles continued, his voice icy with finality. "No one touches women. Anyone who does, suffers." He leaned in closer, his eyes burning with wrath. "And you? You'll wish for death before I'm done with you." "Yes, sir," one of Charles's men interrupted hesitantly, stepping forward. "The guy who tried to assault the lady cop is dead. We followed your orders, tortured him, but he was too weak, didn't make it." Charles didn't flinch. His gaze remained locked on the man before him. "Dispose of his remains. Feed what's left to the lions and tigers." "Yes, sir," the subordinate replied with a quick nod. Charles turned back to the whimpering man in the chair. "As for you," he said, his voice harsh and cold, "there won't be a next time." With that he tied him with the chains and poured the burning hot water on him. After his skin was burnt, he sprinkled salt and chili flakes on him, making the guy shout and cry. "Handle him. Don't stop torturing. He should get the worst death ever. Get the list of girls and provide them with all the necessities. Education, clothes, money, everything. I'm on my way to get Klaus's guy. He's on the run." "Yes, sir," all the 10 men said, as they bowed in front of Lucifer. He sat in his Mercedes and drove off as fast as he could. His anger was on peak. Stella's auburn hair whipped in the wind as she expertly maneuvered her sleek Porsche through the bustling streets of Los Angeles. Her thoughts were consumed by the return of Max, her childhood friend, but her focus shifted abruptly when her sharp eyes spotted a small, helpless kitten frozen in the road, just as a speeding Mercedes barreled toward it. Without a second thought, Stella swerved, her tires screeching as she veered to the side. She leapt from the car, heart racing, and rushed to the kitten's side. She scooped the trembling creature into her arms, feeling a wave of relief as she realized it was unharmed. But that relief quickly turned to fury when she noticed the Mercedes still speeding by, its driver unaware of the near disaster he had just caused. Stella stood firm in front of the car, knowing that whoever was inside was likely running late, but she didn't care. Inside the Mercedes, Charles Everett, the drop-dead handsome CEO of the prestigious Star Group, gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles turning white. "Who the hell is this woman? And what's her problem? I'm already late for my meeting. Shit, I'll have to deal with this crazy woman," he muttered under his breath. Stella could feel her blood boiling as the man in the sleek black Mercedes rolled down his tinted window and spat venomous words her way. "Hey! What the fuck is your problem? If you want to die, go stand in front of another car, not mine. I'm already late for a meeting." His sharp voice cut through the tense air like a dagger. Stella's lips curled in disbelief, her hand clutching the trembling kitten to her chest. She stepped forward, her eyes blazing. "And who the heck are you to assume I want to die?" She shot back, her voice dripping with contempt. "Keep your assumptions to yourself, mister. Hurry, and let me make one thing clear. I'm not moving aside until you apologize to this kitten you nearly killed." Are you blind? Or just heartless? How could you not see him on the road? I don't care how late you are, you not getting out of this until you apologize. Charles let out a huff, clearly unimpressed. Oh, you're a real piece of work, aren't you? But I'm not apologizing to a kitten. It's his mistake he came into the road, not me. Maybe you should tell your little hero to apologize to me. Now get out of my way before I really lose my patience. Stella raised an eyebrow, her voice sharp as a blade. Oh, you think I'm letting you go? Not a chance, mister. Hurry, if you don't let go of that ego of yours and apologize. I'm not budging. He leaned back in his seat, his eyes narrowing as he spoke with a mix of amusement and irritation. What a bitch. Listen, I don't have time for this. You really think you can stop me? Stella didn't answer. Instead, she strode forward, yanked open his car door, and snatched the keys from the ignition with a swift movement. His reaction was instantaneous. What the fuck? How dare you take my keys? Do you even know who I am? Give them back, now, or you'll regret it. Stella smirked, holding the keys high above her head. Oh, it's bold of you to assume I'd just hand these back to you. If I wanted to return them, I wouldn't have taken them in the first place. He lunged forward, trying to grab the keys, but Stella stepped back and, without hesitation, landed a sharp kick squarely on his chest. He stumbled, his face contorting in anger. You kicked me? Are you out of your mind, you bitch? He shouted, his voice echoing down the empty street. You're lucky I don't hit women, and stop calling me mister. Hurry! My name is Charles Everett, CEO of Star Group. Unlike you, I don't have the luxury of wandering around saving kittens. People have fates, and whatever's meant to happen will happen. Stella scoffed, cradling the kitten protectively. Oh, don't worry, I'll change the fate of this kitten myself. And as for the kick, you deserved it, arsehole. Charles sighed heavily, rubbing his temple. It was clear this wasn't going to end anytime soon. Changing tactics, he forced a smile. Look, miss, whoever you are, can't you see this handsome man is already running late? Be reasonable and let me go. Stella tilted her head, pretending to look around. Handsome man? Where? I don't see him. His jaw tightened. I'm talking about myself. I'm the handsome man, in case you didn't notice. Stella burst into laughter, her voice ringing out like bells. Oh, you must not own a mirror. All I see is an arrogant jerk. For the first time, Charles felt a crack in his usually unshakable ego. Women usually fawned over him, but this one? She wasn't fazed, and it drove him mad. You've got to be kidding me, he muttered, more to himself than to her. Not kidding at all, she replied, a sly smile on her lips. You're just an arsehole in a fancy suit. It suddenly hit Stella she was running late herself. Max, her childhood friend, was landing at the airport, and he wasn't familiar with the city. She couldn't waste any more time here. Here, catch the keys, as she called out. She threw them but not toward Charles. Instead, she sent them flying into a patch of thick bushes by the side of the road. What the actual fuck? Charles yelled, his patience snapping. Stella chuckled, taking a step back. Fate, mister, arrogant. Those keys didn't want to be in your hands. Maybe next time. Don't let your ego drive. Without waiting for a response, she turned and walked away, the kitten still nestled in her arms. Over her shoulder, she added with a smirk, a goodbye, Mr. Arrogant. Hope we never meet again though. If we do, I might actually kill you next time. Charles watched her go, utterly stunned and seething. What a bitch. Get lost and I'll make sure that you regret this. But Stella didn't look back. She had more important things to focus on. Picking up Max, who was coming back after 10 long years. Charles went and retrieved the keys from the bushes. As Stella walked down the street, the kitten snug in her arms, she spotted a quiet spot near a small park. Gently, she crouched down, setting the kitten on the soft grass by the side of the road. You're safe now, little guy, as she murmured, brushing its fur one last time. Just as she stood to leave, the roar of an engine made her freeze. Her eyes widened as Charles's sleek black Mercedes sped toward her, screeching to a halt inches away. Her heart pounded as she stumbled back, terrified he might actually run her over. "Are you crazy?" as she shouted, her voice trembling with anger and fear. Charles rolled down his window just slightly, his piercing gaze locking onto hers. For a split second, the air was electric, a silent battle of wills between them. But without a word, he revved his engine, sped off, and disappeared into the horizon as if he had vanished into thin air. Stella stood there, shaken and furious, clutching her chest as the kitten meowed softly behind her. "What the hell is wrong with that man?" as she muttered, her mind racing as she tried to make sense of his bizarre behavior. Little did she know, this wasn't the last time their paths would cross, and the next encounter would be even more unexpected. Chapter 2. The Grumpy CEO. I arrived at the office 2 hours late because of that woman, and I even had to postpone my plan to deal with someone. I missed him, and now he's nowhere to be found. I'll hack into his account and find out where he is to finish what I started. I pushed open the heavy conference room doors with more force than needed, making them slam against the walls. The sound shocked everyone inside, silencing the soft conversations and drawing every eye toward me. I didn't care. Let them stare. Let them feel the weight of my anger before I even spoke. As I walked to the head of the table, my steps echoed in the tense room, and the atmosphere changed. It was thick with nervousness. I didn't bother sitting. I leaned over the table, placing my hands firmly on it, letting my glare sweep across the room. The discomfort in their eyes only made me angrier. "What's going on here?" I asked, my voice cutting through the silence. I didn't need to shout. The calm but controlled tone was enough. "Can someone explain how this project turned into such a mess?" No one spoke. Not a single person looked up. Cowards. I clenched my jaw, and my fists tightened. "Well?" I snapped, slamming my hand on the table so hard that it shook everything. A junior staff member flinched, and I almost smirked. Almost. Am I supposed to guess what went wrong? Or have you all suddenly forgotten how to talk? My eyes locked onto Mark, the project manager, who was sitting stiffly in his chair, looking pale. "Good. He deserved it." "Mark," I said, dragging his name out like an accusation. "Why don't you tell us? What went wrong? And why was I the last one to find out? Or should I be reading about this disaster in tomorrow's news?" Mark swallowed hard and shifted uncomfortably. "We had some unexpected issues with the client," he started, his voice shaking. "But we're working on fixing stop," I interrupted, my voice cutting through his nervousness. "I don't want excuses, and I certainly don't want half-hearted apologies. I want to know why no one here thought to prepare for these so-called issues, or is planning too advanced for this team." The room was silent again, my words hanging in the air. I straightened up and let my cold gaze sweep over them all. "This isn't just about this project," I continued, my voice calm but still dangerous. "This is about the company. It's clear I've been too lenient with all of you. That ends now." I paused, letting my words sink in. "By the end of the day, I expect detailed reports from all of you. I want timelines, explanations, and solutions. And if even one of you doesn't deliver, your resignation will be on my desk by tomorrow morning. Do I make myself clear?" The room held its breath. Everyone stiffened, feeling the weight of my demand. They knew I wasn't bluffing. The consequences would be real. "I expect nothing less than perfection from this team," I said in a low, deliberate voice. "And if you think I'm okay with mediocrity, think again. You're here to make this company succeed, not drag it down." I took a step back, letting my gaze rest on each person. No one looked me in the eye. A few stared at their hands. Others shuffled uncomfortably in their seats. They knew their jobs were at risk. "This company," I said, my voice cold, "it wasn't built on excuses. It was built on results. If you can't deliver, I'll find someone who will. You're all replaceable. Don't forget that." I took another step back and straightened my suit, watching them squirm. "So get to work," I ordered, turning toward the door. and don't waste another second of my time. Just as I reached the door, I heard footsteps behind me. A junior staff member, a girl, rushed past me with a coffee cup in hand. She tripped, and in an instant, the hot coffee spilled across my suit. I froze. The room went completely silent. The girl's face turned pale as she stammered an apology. "I am so sorry, sir. I didn't let her finish." My jaw tightened, and I slowly turned to face her. Every ounce of my anger now focused on her. "You're fired," I said, my voice colder than ice. "You ruined $1,000 suit. Leave, now." She stood there, stunned, but I didn't care. "Pack your things and don't come back." Without waiting for a response, I turned and walked out of the room, slamming the door behind me. I didn't need to look back. They all understood the message. I rushed through the gym, my workout clothes clinging to me after a tough session. I hadn't had time to change because of that jerk Charles, who had kept me way longer than I expected. Damn him. Max had just landed in LA, and I was running late to pick him up. Max, my childhood best friend, the one I hadn't seen in 10 long years. My phone buzzed non-stop as I scrambled through my bag to find my car keys. It was Max. "Me. Hey, I'm so sorry I'm late. I swear I'll be there in 5 minutes." His reply came in a voice note, his deep, warm voice sending a rush of nostalgia through me. "Max. Of course, sweetheart. I'm here at the airport waiting for you. Take your time. No rush. I'm not late at all. So be careful driving, okay? Don't speed, or you might kill someone." I couldn't help but smile. Max was always so considerate, even when he was lying to protect my feelings. He knew how bad I'd feel if I thought I was the reason he was late. That was just Max, always putting others before himself, especially me. I laughed softly to myself, feeling the warmth of our friendship despite the years that had passed. Finally, I found my keys, bolted out of the gym, and ran toward my car. Traffic, of course, was a nightmare, but I navigated through it as best I could. The clock was ticking, and Max had a meeting at 5 p.m. It was already 4, and I hadn't even had time to work out properly today because of that bastard. I sent Max another message to keep him updated. "Me. Hey, I'm in the parking lot. Almost there. Max. Okay. See you soon, sweetheart." The anticipation was killing me. My heart raced as I finally pulled into the airport parking lot. My eyes darted around, searching for him among the crowd. Where was he? I quickly dialed his number. "Max, where are you?" "I can't see you anywhere." He answered right away, his voice clear and calm. "What color is your car, Stella?" I directed him over the phone, and soon enough, I saw him standing right in front of my car, still scanning the area left and right. He was looking around like a lost puppy, and I couldn't help but laugh to myself. He should have just looked back. Of course, he was anxious. He was already late for his meeting. I drove up closer to him and honked the horn. He spotted me immediately and waved enthusiastically. I barely had the car in park before I jumped out and ran toward him. Seeing him in person after so long hit me like a wave of emotion. I wrapped my arms around him in a tight hug, feeling my eyes water. I tried to hold back the tears, but the flood of feelings was overwhelming. "You surely didn't miss me at all. I'm going to punch you in the face," I said, half joking, half seriously, the words coming out before I could stop myself. Max laughed, that familiar, warm laugh that I'd missed so much. "Sweetheart, I thought about you every single day. You were always with me. Did you forget that we kept in touch all these years? Texting, talking." "Yeah, I know," I said, playfully rolling my eyes. "But texts and calls are so different from actually seeing someone. You didn't come to LA for 10 years. I couldn't visit you in the Philippines because of my job, but you didn't visit me either. Any explanation for that?" Max looked a bit sheepish but grinned, like he always did when he knew he was caught. "Don't worry, sweetheart. I'm here now, and I'm staying for as long as possible. So, get ready for a whole lot of fun. I'll do whatever you want, whenever you're free." I raised an eyebrow and smirked. "Stop calling me sweetheart, Max. People might think I'm your girlfriend. Max grinned mischievously. So, you'd rather be called Monkey? Shut up, Max. I laughed. Now, let's get going or you'll be even later for your meeting. I'm gonna take your class later for not coming to LA. As you say, sweetheart, he teased, and I couldn't help but giggle despite myself. We made our way toward his meeting location, catching up on the way. Every word, every laugh felt so natural, like no time had passed. It was surreal having him here in my city, in my life. After all these years, the drive was short, and before I knew it, we had arrived at the building where his meeting was scheduled. I pulled into the parking area and turned to him. See you later. Call me when you're done with the meeting. I'll come pick you up. Okay, sweetheart, he replied, his voice a little lighter. Take care. And don't drive too fast. You know how I worry about you. You know me. I'll drive as fast as I want. I said with a grin. See you soon. He rolled his eyes but smiled as he closed the door and headed into the building. I watched him walk away, feeling a bittersweet mix of excitement and nostalgia. 10 years had passed, but it felt like we had just picked up where we left off. So many memories we hadn't shared, so many things left unsaid. But now, Max was here, and we had time to make up for all of it. I headed back to my apartment at Orchid Residency, my stomach growling with hunger. I hadn't had time to eat, and I needed to change out of my gym clothes. The morning had been a blur, and now I could finally breathe. Once inside, I quickly showered and threw on something more comfortable. My thoughts kept drifting back to Max. Seeing him again stirred up emotions I wasn't quite ready to deal with. He was my best friend, and now, after all this time, he was back. I made myself a quick breakfast, savoring the quiet of my apartment. Outside, the city was buzzing with life, but inside, it was my sanctuary. As I sat down to eat, my mind wandered to the days we spent together as kids, the nights we stayed up late talking about our dreams and plans. Max had always been there, my constant, my rock. And now, he was back. After some tragic incidents we had to part ways. I finished my meal and cleaned up, feeling more grounded than I had in days. I checked the time. It was almost time for Max's meeting to end. I sent him a text to check in. Stellar. Hey, how's the meeting going? Need anything? Max replied quickly. As always, Max, a meeting's almost done. I'm good, and I'll be back in an hour or two. I smiled at his message, feeling warmth spread through me. The years apart hadn't changed our bond. If anything, it had only made it stronger. With a renewed sense of energy, I tidied up my apartment and prepared for the rest of the day. Max was back, and things were about to get a lot more interesting. All those things we hadn't done together in years, we were going to do them now. Chapter 3, Penthouse. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. It's 5 a.m. It felt like the most annoying thing in the world, piercing through my sleep. I tried to ignore it, hoping it would go silent, but it just kept ringing incessantly. Still half asleep, I reached out blindly, attempting to grab it without fully waking up. Eventually, I managed to swipe the screen and answer the call. Klaus? I mumbled, my voice groggy. What the hell, man? It's 5 can't you let me sleep? Jerk, wake up. It's important. Are you an idiot? How many times did I call you? Klaus's voice was harsh and impatient, a jarring contrast to my sleepy haze. What's wrong, Klaus? It's still dawn, I repeated, still not fully comprehending why he was so worked up. Did you seriously forget that you're shifting to the Orchids today? He barked. Oh, shit! I exclaimed, suddenly wide awake. I did forget. Damn it. You told me to come early to help you move to your new penthouse. Klaus continued, his irritation palpable. Can't you stop shifting all the time? Why do you have to move every 2 years? It's so hectic. It slipped my mind. Calm the fuck down. Klaus, you know I can't stay in the same place for more than 2 years. It gets too boring and classic. I need something new, and this is the best penthouse in Los Angeles. I swear I won't move again. Yeah, right, he muttered. How can you move again? It's the only penthouse left in Los Angeles, so you don't have any options. Either you like it, or you come back to this classic and boring place. I'm selling this penthouse. Klaus, I won't come back here. I don't like it. And Leo needs a good place to run around. The orchids have a garden and a terrace, so I don't have to walk him too much. Okay, he sighed. Come on, let's start packing. We need to be there soon. I hung up and dragged myself out of bed. The reality of the move hit me like a ton of bricks. I had completely forgotten that today was the day. As I stumbled around my bedroom, I caught sight of the packed boxes strewn across the floor. A stark reminder of the task ahead. Leo, my loyal German shepherd, lay on his bed, watching me with curious eyes. Come on, buddy, I said, patting his head. We've got a long day ahead. I began the tedious process of packing up the last of my belongings. Klaus arrived shortly after, his expression a mix of annoyance and determination. Let's get this over with, he said, handing me a cup of coffee. We worked in silence for a while, each of us lost in our thoughts. I couldn't help but think about why I moved so often. Maybe it was the thrill of a new place, a new beginning, or maybe it was my inability to stay content with the familiar. Whatever the reason, I knew this move was necessary. The Orchids was a prestigious residence, and it offered everything I needed, including a garden for Leo. By mid-morning, we had everything packed and ready to go. The moving truck arrived, and the movers began loading up the boxes and furniture. I took one last look around my now empty penthouse. It had served me well for 2 years, but it was time to move on. The drive to the Orchids was uneventful, but my mind raced with thoughts of the new place. I had visited it a few times, but living there would be a different experience altogether. The penthouse was modern and luxurious, with a spacious terrace and a private garden, a perfect place for Leo to play. As we arrived, I felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. The Orchids was a beautiful building, its sleek design and lush landscaping a stark contrast to the old penthouse. I couldn't wait to settle in and make it my own. The movers quickly unloaded the truck, and soon enough, we were surrounded by boxes and furniture in the new penthouse. Klaus and I set to work unpacking, arranging the furniture, and getting everything in order. Leo explored the new space, his tail wagging with excitement. Hours passed in a blur of activity. We managed to get most of the essentials set up, and the place was starting to feel like home. As I stood on the terrace, looking out over the city, I felt a sense of satisfaction. This was going to be a good place for me and Leo. I'm focused on settling into my new home. The Orchids was everything I had hoped for, and I was determined to enjoy it. Leo seemed happy, and that was what mattered the most. As the sun began to set, I sat on the terrace with a glass of wine, watching the city lights come to life. It was a new beginning. I woke up at 9 a.m., the soft light filtering through the curtains of my apartment in Orchid Residency. My stomach grumbled, a reminder that I hadn't eaten anything proper since yesterday. That was nothing new. My meals usually consisted of instant ramen, pre-packed salads, or Jenna's occasional cooking sessions when she decided I couldn't survive on my own. Dragging myself out of bed, I rubbed my eyes and headed toward the kitchen, hoping to at least a pack of ramen or some cookies. But as I approached, I froze. There was a sound coming from my kitchen. Not the usual hum of my microwave or the crinkling of a ramen packet, but actual cooking sounds, clattering pans, sizzling, and something that suspiciously smelled good. I peeked in to find Max standing there, flipping something on a pan with all the confidence in the world. Max? I asked, my voice still hoarse from sleep. He turned around, his grin as wide as ever. Good morning, sweetheart. You're up just in time. What are you doing in my kitchen? I asked, stepping inside. The smell of roasted vegetables and warm spices hit me immediately. Cooking breakfast, he said simply, pointing at the counter. There were plates of avocado toast topped with cherry tomatoes, a steaming bowl of spaghetti tossed with herbs, and something else that looked suspiciously like a veggie scramble. You're cooking real food? In my kitchen? I asked, still trying to wrap my head around it. Yes, STELLA, in your kitchen. Someone has to make sure you eat something other than ramen, he teased. I crossed my arms. For your information, I eat salads too. Pre-packed doesn't count. You love to eat the food made by me, he replied, smirking. Get freshened up. I'll set up the breakfast. Sure. Duck. Come on. Sweetheart. I gave you such a good nickname and you call me Duck? Seriously, do I look like a duck? Girls drool over me, and you call me a duck. At least appreciate me a little. My most handsome duck is sad. Come here. Let me give you a hug. Now the duck is happy. I sighed, shaking my head. I don't know what's more surprising, this food or the fact that you managed to find my pans. I'm full of surprises, he said, winking. By the time I returned, the table was set, and Max was already sitting, pouring himself a cup of coffee. I stared at the spread in disbelief. You know, you've officially set the bar too high. I might expect this every day now. He chuckled. That's what I'm here for, sweetheart. You're lucky I don't charge. Yeah, I muttered, sitting down. Just wait until I return the favor with my famous ramen. He winced theatrically. Please spare me. As we ate, the conversation flowed naturally, like it always did. Max filled me in on his meeting plans, while I told him about my day ahead. It was comforting, having him here after all these years. Suddenly Max asked, Sweetheart, do you still get those nightmares? He asked with his concerned tone. Max, please let's not talk about that, I said, as I didn't want to talk about it. When we finished, Max leaned back in his chair, sighing. All right, I better head out. Don't want to be late. Remember the directions I gave you last night, and text me if you get lost, I said, standing to clear the table. Yes, Mom, he replied with a playful roll of his eyes. Don't start, I warned. As he grabbed his bag, I added, a good luck with the meeting, Duck. He stopped mid-step and turned to look at me. Duck? Stop calling me that. I smirked. You're waddling around here, bossing me like you own the place. It fits. He laughed, shaking his head. You're impossible, sweetheart, and you're my favorite duck, I replied with a grin. With a dramatic sigh, he opened the door. You'll pay for that nickname. Looking forward to it, I called after him. As he left, the apartment felt quieter, but not lonely. For the first time in years, it felt like home. Max was back, and things were already more interesting than I'd imagined, except for those nightmares. I bet Max heard me shouting in my dreams. Charles left his penthouse for some grocery shopping. STELLA was about to leave for work. She was in a rush, juggling a milkshake in one hand and a bunch of other items, laptop, keys, bag, and her favorite lip gloss in the other, all while trying to put on her black heels. The elevator was about to close, and if she missed it, she'd be late. She hurried up, pressing the button frantically, still struggling with her heel. She stumbled into the elevator just as it opened. In the chaos, she spilled her milkshake all over the person standing inside. So sorry. I didn't mean to, STELLA exclaimed, then stopped short when she realized who it was. It was none other than Charles, the man who had almost run over a kitten a few days earlier. Wait, are you stalking me? What are you doing here? She demanded. What do you mean? I own a penthouse here, so of course I'd be here, Charles replied coolly. What the heck? She muttered, noticing the milkshake dripping from his shirt. And as you can see, you've ruined my favorite shirt. Can't you watch where you're going? You deserved it, arsehole, STELLA snapped. At this, Charles's demeanor changed. With a smirk, he caged STELLA between his arms and the elevator wall. Leaning in close, he whispered, You'd better stop calling me that, or else you'll face the consequences. STELLA, unfazed, smiled arrogantly and kicked him in the stomach, causing him to stumble and fall with a loud thud. Who's facing the consequences now? She taunted. Charles groaned, ignoring her gloating. As he got back on his feet, he twisted STELLA's hand, his voice low and threatening. Better stay in your limits, or I won't care that you're a girl. The words triggered a flashback for STELLA, and she began to sob uncontrollably. Charles was confused and thought she was acting up to get money from him, just like many other girls do. Charles EVERETT stood in the elevator, his expression unreadable as he held STELLA's unconscious body in his arms. Her red hair fell limply across his chest. The ding of the elevator reaching the parking lot barely registered as he strode out, his steps measured and cold. Reaching his car, he opened the back door and unceremoniously laid her across the seat, securing her with the seatbelt. He stared at her for a moment, his jaw tight, before pulling out his phone and dialing his assistant. Pulling out his phone, he dialed his assistant, his voice calm but razor-sharp when the line connected. "Yes, sir." "Send a team to the Orchids, basement level. I've got someone who needs a hospital. Have them take her to the nearest facility. Quietly, no one should know." "Yes, sir. Give me 10 minutes. "Good," he replied curtly, ending the call. He leaned against the car door, crossing his arms as he watched her unconscious form through the tinted glass. Her head tilted slightly to the side, her breathing shallow but steady. "So weak," he muttered to himself, shaking his head. "Can't even handle a little chaos without breaking." A bitter smirk played on his lips as he straightened up, his expression hardening. "Maybe this will teach you not to get in my way, Jones." When the team arrived, Charles stepped aside, giving them a curt nod as they carefully moved Stella from the car. He watched in silence as they loaded her into another car, his hands in his pockets and his gaze cold. "Take her," he instructed, "and make sure I don't have to deal with this again." As the vehicle pulled away, Charles slid back into his car, started the engine, and drove off without a second thought. Stella Jones was nothing more than an inconvenience, one he intended to leave in his rearview mirror. Author's note: Charles and Stella are neighbors now. Chapter 4. The Panic Attack. Charles sat in his office, reviewing documents with cold precision when his personal assistant called. "Sir, I just received an update from the hospital about MS Jones," the assistant began cautiously. Charles didn't look up from his papers. "And? The doctor says she's stable now, but..." The assistant hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "She has a minor fracture in her arm and fainted due to a severe panic attack. The doctor strongly advised that she needs rest and that no one should mention anything that might cause her stress." Charles's pen paused mid-signature. He leaned back in his chair. "Ian, why are you telling me this?" "Sir, a word of advice?" his PA asked cautiously. "This better be worth my time," he replied, his tone sharp. "You'll have to apologize to her, sir. That won't make the matter worse. If she lets the word out, your image will be destroyed." "Fine." Charles cut him off, his voice dripping with irritation. "I'll play the good, but don't think for a second I'm doing this out of guilt." Charles exhaled sharply, closing the file in front of him with a loud snap. "Arrange the car," he said, his voice clipped. "Let's get this over with." Charles leaned back in his chair, a flicker of annoyance crossing his face. "A visit," he muttered to himself, for someone too weak to handle reality. As he arrived at the hospital, his PA rushed towards him. "Sir, please be a little good to her," he requested. "Stop telling me what to do. I won't hesitate to break your neck." Charles roared. His assistant nodded and handed him a small bouquet of tulips. "Sir, I've attached a note of apology and your personal number." Charles froze, his jaw tightening as he stared at the flowers. "What the hell is this? Why would you give her my number?" "It was necessary, sir," the assistant replied calmly, "so that she won't trouble us in the future." "Settlements," Charles scoffed, shaking his head. "You're skating on thin ice," he muttered before heading towards Stella's hospital room. After placing the bouquet beside her, he left her room as she was asleep. Charles was about to exit the hospital when he heard Scarlet calling for him. He froze and looked back. "Hey, thank you for bringing her to the hospital. Can you please do me a favor?" Charles knew he had to be good. His anger was at the peak, but he decided to handle it calmly. "And who are you?" he replied coldly. "I'm Stella's friend. I have to leave for an urgent meeting. I will send someone in an hour to look after Stella. Can you please look after her till someone shows up?" Whatever Scarlet didn't knew Charles was responsible for Stella laying in the hospital. He went to the patient room where Stella was admitted. Sitting there, he examined her carefully, her red hairs falling to the length of her shoulder, her eyelids closed and her beautiful hands laying on her stomach, one with a fracture and another. "How weak could one be?" he muttered to himself, Charles' phone buzzes and he picks it up quickly. It was Klaus. He hadn't informed Klaus that he left the penthouse and is in the hospital. "Where are you? I have been searching for you since I woke up." "Yeah, I'm at the hospital. I'll explain you everything later." "Or what at the hospital? Why?" Without answering Klaus, he hanged up. He heard a groan. It was Stella groaning in pain as she woke up. She saw him and tried to rush out of the room. While trying to rush out, she lost her balance and was about to fall when Charles rushed to help her. She shouted, "Please don't come close to me. Please stay away, please." He was shocked. He had only seen the arrogant, rude, and savage Stella, but today he was seeing a totally different girl who was scared of him. He replied in a cold and rude tone, "Don't worry, I won't hurt you, Jones. Last name of Stella." "I'm sorry." Hearing his words, Stella stepped away. He made Stella sit on the bed and left. Stella went to the corner of the bed, sat there and sobbed. Later she noticed the tulip bouquet and went to grab it. She took in her hands. Tulips were her favorite flowers. Cherishing the flowers, she noticed a note. "I couldn't just control my anger. I will soon leave from the orchids. If you have any difficulty because of me, text me what I need to do and I'll do that." She saw the phone number attached. After reading the note, she felt guilty and she grabbed a phone and texted the number that Charles attached. "Hey, Stella here. You don't need to shift anywhere. I won't cause any trouble. I'm sorry. You realized your mistake. That's fine." Hearing his phone buzzing continuously for 3 times, Charles stops the car and looks at the text. "I lost my control over me, and I will stay without causing any disturbance. Are you sure?" Having apologized for the first time in his life, Charles felt a little embarrassing, but he also knew the importance of his image. The investors, the stakeholders, how important it was to build his image for them. Few minutes later, Max steps in the patient room and asks Stella what had happened. Without answering, Stella jumps out of the bed and hugs Max. He knew something was wrong, as whenever she was scared, sad and anxious, he felt it. Being children, Stella used to hug him every time whenever her dad had beat her and abused her mom. But today he couldn't figure out the reason, as both her mom and dad were in Philippines and not in Los Angeles. Max didn't pull out of the hug until Stella did. They held each other for a few minutes, her tears soaking into his shirt. When Stella finally came to her senses and pulled away, she wiped her eyes, trying to compose herself. Max gently guided her to sit on the bed, his concern etched deeply into his features. "Tell me what happened," he urged softly. Stella took a shaky breath, trying to steady her voice. "Charles, he twisted my arm. Max, and then I got these flashbacks of my dad beating me. I panicked. I couldn't breathe. And everything went dark. That's why I fainted." Max listened intently, his eyes never leaving hers. Stella always appeared so strong, so unbreakable to the world. She was rude, arrogant, and savage, but Max knew better. He knew that every harsh word, every cold glance, was a shield she had built to protect herself. Deep down, she was still the innocent, emotional, and loving girl who had been scarred by her father's abuse. She had learned to hide her pain behind a tough exterior, but that didn't mean she was unaffected. In fact, it was quite the opposite. Every little thing affected her profoundly. She just didn't show it. As Stella finished her story, Max felt a surge of protectiveness. He pulled her into another embrace, holding her tightly. "I'm so sorry for not being there, sweetheart. My cell phone was switched off because I was in a meeting. I'm so sorry I wasn't here on time." Stella shook her head, leaning into him. "Max, you being here now is what matters. Scarlet had an important meeting, so she left. But if she knew what happened, she would have killed Charles." Max stroked her hair gently, his voice soothing. "Stella, you need to rest. I'll take care of the discharge process. We'll head to my house at the Ocean Residency. It's quite far from Orchids, so you don't need to worry about running into Charles." Stella nodded, relief washing over her. "Okay, let's pack and leave. Stay with me for a few days until I completely heal. Max, please." Max smiled, kissing the top of her head. "Of course, sweetheart. I'm always here for you." As Max left the room to handle the discharge papers, Stella leaned back against the pillows, closing her eyes. Her mind wandered back to the encounter with Charles. She hated how he could reduce her to that scared little girl again, the one who cowered in the corner while her father raged. But she wasn't that girl anymore. She had fought hard to become who she was today, and she wasn't going to let Charles or anyone else take that away from her. When Max returned, he found her lost in thought. He sat beside her, taking her hand in his. "It's done. We can leave as soon as you're ready." Stella opened her eyes and gave him a small, grateful smile. "Thank you, Max, for everything." Max helped her gather her things, and soon they were on their way to the ocean residency. The drive was long, but it gave Stella time to think. Max kept glancing at her, his worry evident. She squeezed his hand, reassuring him that she was okay, or at least, she would be. When they finally arrived, Max guided her inside, insisting she take the bedroom while he took the couch. Stella didn't argue. She was too exhausted to put up a fight. As she settled into the soft bed, she felt a sense of safety she hadn't felt in a long time. Max checked on her frequently, bringing her food and water, making sure she was comfortable. They spent the next few days in a quiet routine. Max worked from home, his presence a constant source of comfort for Stella. Slowly, she began to feel more like herself. One evening, as they sat on the balcony watching the sunset, Stella turned to Max. "I want to go back to work soon. I can't let Charles think he's won." Max looked at her, admiration in his eyes. "You're stronger than anyone I know, Stella, but take your time. There's no rush." She nodded, appreciating his understanding. "I know. I just need to keep moving forward. Stay, just stay for few more days. MIA is here too. You can stay here as long as you want." "I suggest staying for a month," he said softly. Max took her hand, squeezing it gently. "And I'll be right here with you, every step of the way." Chapter 5. Humiliated. Max's place had become a refuge, a sanctuary where I could breathe without the suffocating presence of my fears. 5 days had passed since I sought solace here, and yet, the anxiety that gripped my heart had barely loosened its hold. The thought of returning to the orchids filled me with dread, a fear that Charles, with his cruel eyes and sharper tongue, had come to embody. It was bad enough that he knew about my panic attacks. The first time it happened in front of him, I wanted the earth to swallow me whole. The shame and embarrassment of being so vulnerable in front of someone like Charles was almost too much to bear. He had a way of making my insecurities feel like fatal flaws, glaring weaknesses that could never be hidden. Max had been my rock through it all, a steadfast friend who never judged me for my vulnerabilities. He had insisted I stay with him until I was truly okay, especially since my fractured hand had taken its time to heal. The doctor had said the cast could come off today, and I was more than ready to have full use of my hand again. But despite Max's warnings to stay put, I had made up my mind. I couldn't impose on him any longer. He had been doing all the chores, taking care of everything while I just existed in his space, trying to mend. The decision to leave without informing Max wasn't an easy one. I knew he'd worry, maybe even be a little angry, but I couldn't let that stop me. I didn't want to be a burden, so I called a cab and headed back to the orchids, the place that used to be my home but now felt more like a battlefield. As the cab drew closer, my heart pounded in my chest. The anxiety gnawed at me, making me question my decision. Would Charles still be there? The thought of seeing him again made my stomach churn, but I steeled myself with the resolve to confront him if necessary. I could handle it. After all, I was a black belt champion. I could take care of myself. I remembered the time in college when a friend discovered my gentle, loving side. She had used it against me, bullying me relentlessly for being a weak. It was a lesson I never forgot. People could be cruel, and showing vulnerability was like painting a target on your back. That's why I kept my gentleness hidden, buried under layers of toughness and self-reliance. The cab pulled up to the orchids, and I took a deep breath before stepping out. The familiar sight of the building, once a symbol of comfort, now loomed like a fortress filled with hidden dangers. I squared my shoulders and walked inside, the weight of my decision pressing heavily on me. The lobby was quiet, a stark contrast to the storm of emotions swirling within me. I made my way to the elevator, each step a test of my resolve. As the doors slid shut, I tried to steady my breathing, reminding myself that I could handle whatever came next. When I reached my floor, I hesitated for a moment before stepping out. The hallway seemed longer than usual, each step echoing in the silence. I reached my door and took another deep breath before unlocking it and stepping inside. The familiar scent of my apartment greeted me, and for a moment, I felt a sense of relief. I set my bag down and looked around, half expecting Charles to jump out and start another round of torment. But the apartment was empty. No sign of Charles. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Maybe he had moved out. Maybe I could finally have some peace. I decided to take a shower, hoping the warm water would wash away some of the tension. As I stood under the stream, I let my mind wander. I thought about Max, about how he always seemed to know what I needed, even when I didn't. I felt a pang of guilt for leaving without telling him, but I knew it was for the best. When I stepped out of the shower, I felt a little more like myself. I dressed quickly and headed to the kitchen to make some tea. As I waited for the water to boil, I thought about my plan. If Charles did come back, I would deal with him head on. No more hiding. No more letting him make me feel small. I was stronger than that. It's been 5 blissful days since STELLA hasn't been around, and I have to admit, Orchids is surprisingly serene without her drama. I'm starting to appreciate this place more now. I've taken a liking to Orchids now. It's peaceful and happy without that drama queen around. Sure, I hurt her, but she called me an asshole first. I'm over feeling guilty about it. If she tries anything again, I've decided to just ignore her. The Orchids always hosts a welcome party for new owners, and being the richest, they're throwing a huge bash for me tonight. But there's this weird rule that everyone in Orchids has to show up to these parties. So, of course, STELLA will be there too. I woke up late today and now I'm rushing to the office. I managed to sneak out of Orchids without bumping into STELLA. Safe on the ground floor, I head to the parking lot, and there she is. Her cherry red hair cascades down to her waist, contrasting with her brown eyes and glowing skin in the sunlight. I find myself peeking, curious about what she's up to. I strain to see what she's doing, but I can't quite catch it. I watched as STELLA gently stroked the puppy's fur, her touch tender and caring. It was a side of her I hadn't seen before, or perhaps had chosen to overlook amidst our clashes. I start my car and drive slowly past her. She's kneeling down, petting a stray puppy. Despite everything, she looks surprisingly cute. Then I remember the hurtful words she threw at me, and all the anger rushes back. Turning away from STELLA and the puppy, I retreated into the familiar solitude of my car. The engine hummed to life as I navigated out of the parking lot, each turn of the wheel accompanied by a chorus of conflicting thoughts. As I stormed into the office, the bustling energy of the day enveloped me like a suffocating cloud. Employees scurried to their desks, heads down, avoiding any unnecessary interaction with me. The usual warm greetings from colleagues were replaced by tense nods and hurried whispers as I passed by. Business meetings awaited, but my mind was consumed with a relentless fury that made focusing on anything else nearly impossible. Emails were dispatched with sharp efficiency, reports scrutinized with an unyielding gaze that brooked no dissent. In the conference room, where strategic decisions were meant to be made, the atmosphere crackled with an undercurrent of tension. My presence seemed to cast a pall over the proceedings, stifling creativity and initiative. Voices that would usually be confident faltered, hesitant under the weight of my palpable displeasure. What's the status on the quarterly projections? I demanded, my tone clipped and impatient. The responses came in a flurry of nervous stammering and hastily presented charts, each word tinged with a fear of disappointing me. Minutes ticked by like hours as I scrutinized every detail, every decision, with a critical eye that brooked no room for error. The relentless pace of the day did little to assuage the anger that burned hot within me, fueled by frustrations both known and buried deep. Chapter 6. Welcome Party. Unfortunately, STELLA was the most beloved person among the Orchids and was responsible for organizing the entire welcome party. This meant there was virtually no chance I wouldn't see her. Being so adored, she would undoubtedly be there, threatening to ruin my mood completely. Her presence always had a way of unsettling me, and tonight would be no different. As I stared at my wardrobe, I was still uncertain about what to wear. A full blazer seemed too formal for the occasion, but I wanted to strike the right balance between looking sharp and not overdone. After some deliberation, I decided on a white formal shirt paired with a blazer, complemented by black trousers. The trousers were tailored to perfection, perhaps a bit too well, as they clung to my form and highlighted my masculine abs. The outfit was simple yet sophisticated, exuding an air of confidence and style. I scrutinized my reflection in the mirror. The white shirt contrasted sharply against my skin tone, making me look even more striking. The blazer added a touch of elegance without being too stiff, and the black trousers, though a bit revealing, showcased my physique in a flattering manner. I adjusted the collar of my shirt and ran a hand through my short hair. Despite my unease about seeing STELLA, I knew I had to maintain my composure. The welcome party was an important event, and I needed to present myself well. Taking a deep breath, I grabbed my keys and headed out, hoping that my carefully chosen outfit would help me navigate the evening with grace and confidence. I absolutely have no interest in attending the welcome party, but never mind, as I have decided to invite Max, Scarlet, and Jenna, so it'll be fun with them being around. I am freaking out cause I have not got a good dress for the party, so I decide to go shopping and get myself some good clothes for the party. It took me 2 hours to search for a dress, and finally I found a gorgeous red satin dress which went perfectly with my skin tone. I also decided to color my hair blonde, as cherry red isn't a good combination for a red satin dress. Finally, it's the time to show up for the party. Max, Scarlet, and Jenna are still not here. I'm anxious as hell. My call log was flooded with the missed calls of the residents to ask me why haven't I showed up to the party. I don't want to be there alone, so I'm here waiting for Max, Scarlet, and Jenna. The welcome party was the superb one. The decoration, the lighting, and all the people up there cheering for me and congratulating me and asking thousands of questions. Honestly, I don't like to be surrounded by so many people. I wanted to rush out and just go and watch some good series, but it was stuck here. When I was about to go for another drink, STELLA showed up, and everyone started cheering for her. She was in her red-hot satin dress. Her hairs were different this time. Instead of red, they were blonde, wearing black heels, and she was with her friends. Everyone began with the party singing, dancing, and drinking up, until the host of the party showed up on the stage. He was an old man in his early 70s. He started talking and the whole crowd went silent. He was most known for his anger. He announced that everyone has to dance with their prom date, and if they don't, they will have to sing and then dance in front of everyone. The fuck, I don't wanna dance with any girl in here, and if I don't, then my fucking reputation is gonna be messed. Then he begins saying that he will set everyone up with their prom dates. He starts setting up everyone with their prom dates. He sets up STELLA's best friends together, Max and Scarlet, Jenna, and Steve, son of the host. Within half an hour he paired almost everyone. Only few of the people were left. STELLA, me, Jeremy, Thea, and he was about to announce the another pair. He announces my name and then waits and says, "Who do you think will accompany our handsome billionaire?" 80% of the crowd shouts STELLA's name, and those few who were friends of STELLA shouts Thea's name. I cross my fingers and wish it to be anyone but not her, not STELLA. I would rather die than getting paired up with Charles. No way this is gonna happen. The host speaks up, but instead ends up pairing Jeremy with Thea and announced me along with Charles. What the hell? We both gave each other a death stare. Of course, none of us expected it to be this freaking bad. The host played the song while I was so confused if this is even gonna happen, and on the other hand, Charles was moving towards me with a smirk on his face. I just wanted to leave this party and run as far as I could, but I can't. I decided to give it a go and ignore him most of the time. He came towards me and extended his hand towards me. I wasn't sure, but yet I decided to take up his hand and dance with him. He placed his hand on my waist, which sent shivers through my whole body. With a large smirk on his face, he pulled my waist towards him. We were so fucking close in the moment that I felt so anxious, but I hid all my anxiety with a smile on my lips. Hand in hand near the pool, we all danced. Max, me, Jenna, and Scarlet were continuously exchanging glares at each other. Charles pulling me into the dance and whispered into my ears, "You look hot, bitch." Sadly, I can't say the same to you, I said. Charles smiles and ignores her, and they continue to dance. Max was asking me if I was okay with eyes, and I assured him I was fine. I didn't felt that scared as I was before. Swinging and dancing, I was waiting for it to get over so that I can finally be released from his hold and breathe. We were dancing by the pool when Charles held my waist more tightly than he was before. I struggled within his hand placement, so instead I pinched him hard. He groans and whispers, "Be gentle, Jones," to which I replied, "I didn't know you were so sensitive, Mr. Charles Everett." He says, "I'm really in the mood to tease you today, Jones." "Don't tease, your teasing is torture, baby," I whispered. "Oh, if you insist," he smirked. In an instant he spined me around and bent my body along the pool. What the fuck, Charles? Have you gone nuts? Don't even think of it or else dash or else? I don't wanna let you go, Jones, but if you want it. Here you go. He giggled and loosened his grip from my waist. I tripped and fell into the pool. Everyone was shocked, to which Charles just did. Oh my god, Stella, I left your hand for a minute and you couldn't handle yourself. How did you slip, Stella? Because of my high heels, Charles. I lied, as I didn't want it to cause any drama in the party and ruin everyone's mood. Charles glared at me, and I realized I was wearing a satin dress which was now fully see-through as I was soaked. I tried to cover myself and gave a death stare to Charles, who was staring at me. Charles soon came towards me with his blazer and covered me with the blazer. That bastard surely knew how to act. I had no choice but to keep that blazer on me as my dress was soaked and my body was fully visible. I asked Charles in front of everyone, "Can you please accompany me till my apartment so that I can give your blazer back to you?" I announced to everyone, "Continue your party, I'll get changed and be back on the floor." Max, Jenna and Scarlet were in shock cores of what just happened. Charles agreed to accompany me to my apartment. As soon as we entered the elevator, I kicked him hard and he groaned. I pointed my finger on his chest and said, "Stop with this nonsense of yours, Everett, I ain't weak. Last time I fainted so you were spared. Not anymore, it too," which he says, "Yes darling, you surely aren't weak, but I can make you weaky," in a soft tone with a smirk on his face. I replied to him in loud tone, "Try for yourself and see the consequences, Everett, you are asking for trouble yourself." Leaning close to him and then pushing him, I made myself clear. Chapter 7. Revenge. I quickly changed into a green dress, which I have wore more often, so I choose the red one, but now I have no option but to go for that dress. After getting changed, I came out to blow dry my soaked hairs and redo my ruined makeup. Charles, sitting on the sofa, gave me a glare, to which I raised my eyebrows and questioned him. He answered, "How much time would you take, babe?" in a rough tone as if he was too tired already. "More 2 hours, baby," I replied in a sarcastic tone, teasing him. "Oh, why do girls take this much time to get ready?" he says in an irritating tone. "You'll never understand, baby." Then I heard a loud knock on the door. I rush to open the door, but instead of me, Charles gets there first and opens it. I see a glimpse of Max and his golden hairs, so I calmed down and started with my makeover. I opened the door and a golden-haired man with dark brown eyes is standing there. I questioned, "Who are you?" To which he replies, "None of your business." He pushed me and rushed in. I was still in shock. How the fuck did this man touched and pushed me? I was still at the door processing things, so I moved towards the direction he went. I hear him screaming, "Sweetheart, where are you?" To which Stella replies, "I'm here in the dressing room, Doc." I almost couldn't control my laughter after I hear what she called him, Doc, seriously. I follow him to the dressing room and see them hugging each other. I cough and act like I'm clearing my throat. "Are you two lovers done already?" Stella replies, "Oh, fuck off, can't you give us a little privacy?" in a teasing tone. "Oh, look who's talking about privacy when you yourself asked me to accompany you." With a smirk I reply. Golden-haired guy interrupts and asks her, "Are you okay, sweetheart?" To all this cliche lines I reply, Your sweetheart is of course not sweet, so bitter heart sweets are much better." A golden-haired guy replies, "None of us asked for your opinion." As if I'm dying to give my opinion. Stella interrupts and says, "Can you duck and you mouse wait outside?" WTF, now she called me a mouse. How can she call a drop-dead handsome man a mouse? I got irritated real quick and I replied in an irritated voice, "Yes monkey, we are waiting in the hall." She gave me an evil laugh in return. Me and golden-haired guy sit in the living room waiting for Jones to get ready. Me and the guy had a little chit-chat and I got to know his name is Max Hastings. Then we introduced ourselves and honestly we don't like each other at all. We forced smiles. And I was at peace here. That party was too hectic and everyone kept talking to me. I was too tired answering them all. After an hour, Stella gets out of her dressing room, dressed up in a beautiful green dress. Then we get out of the house and then Stella asks us to click her pics. She literally had us take 1,000 pics and then she said, "Everett, can you PLS take the pic of me and Max?" I snatched the mobile and told her to go and pose and that I'm too tired. To tease her first, I took a pic without her face showing, and when she saw that she gave a slap on my bicep and then I gave her a smirk. After that she and Max posed for getting pics. I honestly didn't believe they were just friends. The way they act, I felt like something is going on but nothing. Max kept his hand on her waist, she placed her hand on his shoulder, and then she bent her body and shouted at me a click here, and I did. After clicking a lot of pics, we moved towards the party hall. Stella joins with her girlfriends. I quickly go to Scarlet and Jenna and join them in the dance. After dancing for few hours, we go up for a drink. We grab a drink and go out in the garden for some privacy, as I fucking need to discuss about how I can take the revenge. Jenna and Scarlet came up with some boring ideas, but then I thought of something interesting. So we swayed our ways in the party hall. I went to grab wine and I searched for Charles and saw him standing across the door with a drink in his hand. He gave his blazer to me, and as I was soaked, the blazer got soaked too. So he was wearing a white shirt in which his masculine abs were fully visible, and TBH, there was so fucking hot. I grabbed the drink and then I head towards the direction he was standing. I stepped on his toes with my pencil heels and he groans, "Ouchie, you blind, can't you see I'm standing here? Baby." Oops, I didn't had eyes to look out for you. As saying this, I make attempt to get back, but instead I spill my wine on him. His shirt was now covered in bright red wine, and he yelled, What the actual hell, a tit for tat, Everett is seriously Jones," he said in a loud and irritated voice. "So, Everett, before you plan something to get me in trouble, know the consequences better. You are disgusting, Jones," he replies while trying to clean his shirt. Am I understood? Fuck off. As saying this, he leaves the party hall. Everyone was busy partying, and most people were too drunk by now to notice anything. This was the best revenge I planned, cause in that short span of time all I could think of was this. Jenna and Scarlet come to me giggling, and they both say, "That's our girl." And I laugh and say, "Of course, how can I let him off so easily?" Max comes to me and says goodbye. Jenna and Scarlet were spending the night with me, so we head towards our apartment. Taking a cold shower, we change into our cute PJs. Then before going to bed, we gossip and have our pillow fight. Whenever we stay at each other, we always have pillow fights, which is the best part of the day. Jenna throws a pillow at me and I fall onto the bed laughing continuously. I pick up the pillow and throw it in Scarlet's direction. "Wait, you little girl, I'm coming for you," Scarlet shouts. Now my house is a huge mess, but instead of cleaning we play like children's, and then we all lay on the bed wondering how our life's taken a huge turn. We gossip about our lives. Jenna is now a single mother. She's older than me by 4 years. Scarlet owns a beautiful boutique and is on the road of success. We hug each other and then we fell asleep. Chapter 8. Killer. I woke up and glanced at the clock. Damn, it was already 10 o'clock. I was going to be late again. I threw pillows at Jenna and Scarlet and opened the curtains to let the sunshine in. The bright light fell on their faces, and they groaned, shouting in unison, "Stella, darling, please close them or I will kill you once I'm up. Seems like you forgot that our little Pip has a parents' meeting at 12 p. Don't you think you'll be running late and Pip would get upset?" Jenna jumped off the bed quickly. Fuck. It almost slipped my mind. "Thank you, darling." Jenna, being the single mother she was, everything to Pip. She was not just a mother but a friend, a dad, and everything in between. Fine, don't get clingy now. I hate it, I said, to irritate me. She came closer and planted kisses on my cheeks. I quickly grabbed my toiletries and rushed to take a shower before Jenna could butt in. Of course, I never take a shower without music, so I quickly turned on my Taylor Swift playlist. Yup, I'm a Swiftie. I took a good half-hour shower, even though I normally take a whole hour. Since I was late, I had to cut it short and rush to dress up. It was Thursday, which meant the day of the week when all officers had to wear their uniforms. It kind of sucked because I loved the clothes I preferred over the uniform. I quickly changed into my uniform, a dark blue shirt with full sleeves paired with cream or black pants. We had a choice in the color of the pants, so today I chose to pair it with cream pants. I glanced in the mirror, making sure everything was in place. The uniform did have a certain sharpness to it, even if I didn't love it. Ready to tackle the day, I stepped out, hoping I wouldn't be too late. In the middle of my makeover, my mobile beeped. I quickly reached out to it. It was Lexi, my teammate, calling. I immediately picked up the call. "Hey, I'm so sorry for being late. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Stella, hurry ASAP. It's the DT again. The duct tape killer. Shit. I'm on my way. Another victim?" Sadly, yes. Fuck. It was the 5th victim of the DT. and we were still unable to catch him. I quickly put on some sunscreen and hurried over. As I rushed towards the hall, I saw a huge crowd. When I noticed the chief standing above, I realized an urgent meeting was going on. I silently took my place as the chief began to speak. It's the 5th victim, and we still don't have a single clue about the DT killer. An 8-year-old girl was murdered brutally, tortured, and covered with tape all over her body. I have decided to take this matter into my own hands, and I even want to hire the best hacker in the country. We all responded in unison. Yes, sir. The chief continued. We have some information on this expert hacker. He is the CEO of the Star Group of companies, and our informer tells us he stays in the Orchids penthouse. As we all know, our officer STELLA stays in the Orchids as well. I would like STELLA to convince Mr. Charles to join our team so that we can hack into the mobile phones taken from each child he murdered and find his location. I was stunned and interrupted. Sorry to interrupt, sir, but I don't think I can. We have never talked, and I don't know Mr. Charles that well. I lied to escape this daunting task. The chief replied angrily. STELLA, I don't want any excuses. If you don't know him, get close to him. Tell him we are willing to pay any amount he wants for his services and bring him here. Do anything necessary. I want him here tomorrow, no matter what. I couldn't argue with him, so I agreed reluctantly. The meeting was dismissed. How the fuck will I convince him to join our team and help us? That arrogant man will never agree, but I have no choice. Children are being killed at an alarming rate. I can't let this continue. I have to convince him. As I got into my car, I thought about my strategy. Maybe I could find a way to appeal to his sense of justice, or at least his sense of curiosity. I had to make him see the urgency and the importance of this case. Lives depended on it. Driving to the crime scene, I mentally prepared myself for the task ahead. First, I had to gather as much information as possible about Mr. Charles. I needed to know what made him tick, what he valued, and how I could use that to get him on our side. This wasn't just about convincing him to help. It was about saving innocent lives. I parked my car and made my way to the crime scene, where the reality of the situation hit me hard. Seeing the young victim, I steeled my resolve. Failure was not an option. I had to convince Charles, no matter what it took. The crime scene was a grim sight. The yellow tape cordoned off the area, and officers were scattered around, collecting evidence and talking in hushed tones. I took a deep breath and approached Lexi, who was standing near the body, her face pale and eyes filled with determination. Hey, I said softly, not wanting to disturb the heavy silence. Hey, Lexi replied, her voice strained. It's bad. STELLA, really bad. I looked at the body, my heart sinking. The girl was so young, her life brutally cut short. The tape wrapped around her small frame was a haunting reminder of the monster we were dealing with. I clenched my fists, anger and frustration boiling inside me. We had to stop this killer. Any new leads? I asked, hoping for something, anything that could point us in the right direction. Lexi shook her head. Not much. The same M as the previous victims. We're still trying to piece together any connections. I nodded, feeling the weight of the task ahead. I'm supposed to convince Charles to help us. The chief thinks he can hack into the killer's devices. Lexi raised an eyebrow. Charles? The tech genius? Good luck with that. He's not exactly known for being cooperative. I know. I sighed. But I have to try. We need his skills. Lexi placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. You'll figure it out. STELLA, you always do. I gave her a grateful smile. Thanks. I'll check in later. Chapter 9. Convincing the Devil. I was about to leave the office when I heard a soft voice call my name. It was Lexi. She knew I was terrible at convincing people. Once, I tried to get the chief to grant us a day off but ended up messing it up so badly that we had to work extra. Knowing this, she offered her help without hesitation. Lexi was unpredictable kind one moment, indifferent the next. She suddenly hugged me tightly, and I froze. Oh, why does she always get so clingy? I hate being touched, and her arms around my neck made it hard to breathe. Struggling to speak, I croaked, Are you planning to kill me, Lexi? She quickly loosened her grip. Her face flushed. No. Oops. Sorry about that. It's fine. Ira managed, coughing. We parted ways soon after. My car was at the service station, so I had no choice but to walk or grab a cab. Standing at the edge of the road, I waved for a cab, but every single one was occupied. When I tried booking one online, I was met with a frustrating and no cabs available at the moment a notification. Resigned, I decided to walk and grabbed an ice cream on the way. Strolling along and savoring the cool treat, my mind wandered to everything I'd endured, the things I thought I'd never survive. Yet somehow, here I was. A car's horn snapped me out of my thoughts. It kept honking, annoying me to the point that I turned around, ready to yell. I saw the sleek black Audi. I knocked on the car window to yell at the driver. I was met with a familiar face. Charles, what the hell? Why does this guy keep showing up everywhere? What? I stammered. He looked irritated. I thought I'd offer you a ride since you were walking alone. What's with the attitude? I sighed, explaining, my car's at the service station, and no cabs are available. Oh, I see, he replied nonchalantly. So, do you want to hop in or keep walking? It was already 10 p, and walking alone at that hour wasn't the safest idea. Not that I couldn't defend myself, but I was too exhausted. Still, I hesitated too long. Charles groaned, starting to drive off. Guess you're walking. Bye. Jones, wait. Oh, wait. I shouted, running toward the car. I'm coming, Everett. He stopped, and as I approached, he opened the passenger side door. I climbed in, settling into the seat next to him. He was wearing a fitted blue blazer, and my eyes immediately went to his hands on the steering wheel. The veins running along them were distracting. Damn, visible veins are definitely my weakness. I tried not to stare as his phone buzzed on the charging dock, and he shifted gears effortlessly. Maybe the walk wouldn't have been so bad after all, anything to avoid the fluttery feeling creeping up on me now. I distract myself and listen to the songs. The songs he listens. Damn, they are so sad songs. I swear I would start crying, but I can't argue with him today. I have to convince him at any cost, or else I'm as good as dead. So instead of arguing, I start to appraising him. Why, your taste in songs is quite good. Yeah, I guess it is. He literally drove off too fast. I tightened my grip on the handle of the car and managed to speak. Do you wanna kill me? Noppy. Or can you fucking slow down then? That's my usual speed. Ha 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 ha, I won't slow down. I closed my eyes shut and he literally drove off at the fastest speed. I prayed for my life and held the handle tightly. Finally, after 15 minutes, we reached the orchids. I got out of the car and shut the door almost as if I wanted to break it, which I honestly did. I was still thinking about how to convince this bastard, so I was too silent all the way. He finally breaks the silence and speaks. There is something wrong, Jones? Being confused by his question, I ask. No, why do you ask though? Today you are too quiet, so it's a bit unusual. Like Jones almost won't stop speaking, but today it's quite opposite. He actually, yeah, something is. Okay, fine. He literally just says okay, fine, and doesn't even ask the reason, so instead I speak up. It's a maybe about you, or me? What about me now? I had a bunch of questions for you. I wondered if you would answer. As long as the questions are valid, I will. Are you a hacker? Yeah, I'm. What about that? Nothing, just asking. I still wasn't sure if this is the one guy that we need for hacking. The CEO of Star Group Company, so I asked one more question. You work in which company? Jones, I am the CEO of the Star Group Company. Now I hope your questions are done. Are they? Actually, they aren't done. Seriously, am I being interviewed? No, it's not that. Actually, I wanted to ask you a question, last one, I swear. Can you work in our company for a few days? You will get a good pay. I'd better die than work with you, Jones. I murmur as if I'm dying to work with you, bastard. Anyways, he heard me. Then stop with it, Jones. Thank you for the ride, mister. Rude. I lift up both my middle fingers in the air and walk away. He shouts, get lost. I went straight to my apartment and jumped on the bed, still confused as to how to convince that rude guy. I quickly call Scarlet. She's the only one who can save me from this situation. Basically, she saves me every time, so I call her my savior. She's younger than me, but she understands me the best. We talked for almost 2 hours. She filled me in with a lot of tips to convince the devil, and I disagreed at first, but then do I have a choice? I will have to keep my attitude aside and convince Charles. That's the only way. I set my alarm for 7 a.m. and slept peacefully with my confidence on the peak that he will be convinced with Scarlet's tricks. I wake up soon and take a quick shower. I grab my phone and dial Scarlet's number. Without her, this plan won't work. Hey Scarlet, where are you? I'm waiting. Hey Stella, I'm on my way. We'll reach there soon. Everything else is ready? Yup, everything is. Hurry up. Okay, bye sweetheart. Bye savior. Soon after 10 minutes I hear a knock on the door, and guess who it is? Damn the devil, Charles. What's wrong? Why you so scared? See, actually, you know there's no cleaning staff this early in the morning. My assistant is still not here and my bodyguards will take time to get here soon. What's the point in all this? Why are you telling me this? Actually there is a huge SP spider in my room. I need your help to kill him. What, seriously? I start laughing and I continuously laughed for 5 minutes straight. Are you done laughing? The CEO of the Star Group company is scared of spider. Har har har. Enough with your lame jokes. Can you help me out now? Fine, but I have 2 conditions. 1. I won't kill the spider. I'm not as heartless as you. I will scare it away too. I will tell you that condition after I scare away the spider. Fine, now hurry up and scare that huge spider away. Nope. First promise me that you will accept the condition too. Yeah, I promise you. Or don't you dare step away and break the promise, or else I'll bring 100 spiders and leave them in your penthouse. I'm the man of my word, Jones. I won't step away, Charles says in an irritated tone as always. Okay, fine, let's go now. I will scare him away. We take the elevator and then head towards his penthouse. I ask Charles where the spider was and he says it was in the hall behind the couch. Okay, let's go then. I'll scare him away. No, I won't come inside. Can you scare him away? Pls, the balcony is open. Fine, I'll go and manage. I go in and then I search for the spider. He was there behind the couch making the web. I felt sad to break his web, but nevertheless I take a small piece of paper and then I lift him up gently and put him out of the balcony. I decide to pull a prank on Charles, so I exit the penthouse and then I say, Everett, I'm sorry, but I really couldn't scare him off. He's not going. What the hell, seriously? Wait, let me call the pest control guys. They will surely scare him off. I snatch the phone before he dials the number. You surely are too sacred of spiders. Don't worry, I scare them away. Thank you so much, Jones. You are not at all welcome. Har. Okay, Jones, bye. I'll be off then. Why, wait, did you forget about the condition too? Seriously? No, I remember. Tell me your fucking 2D condition. What is it? Remember last night I talked about you joining at my workplace and help us? Shit, Jones, not that again. I thought you were over it. Oh, I'm not. It's a serious matter, Charles. There's a serial killer out there who has killed almost 6 children. We need an expert hacker to track him, Charles. PLS, it's the matter of their life. Fine, I already promised you and I'm a man of my word, so I'll help you out. I finally breath and relax. Thanks, Everett. Yeah, Jones, it's because I owe you one for scaring away that spider. Everett, actually. What now? You have to join today onwards. Seriously, Jones, and you're telling me this now? You agreed now, didn't you? Fine, what's the timing? It's 11 a.m. You have 3 hours, Everett. I will text you the address. You please listen, Jones. Yar. If you want, you can come with me. Your car is for servicing, and I don't know the address well, so. Oh, fine, cool, then I'll see you at 10:30 sharp. It takes half hour to get there. Okay, fine. Finally I convinced that bastard. Damn, that spider was the savior this time. God, thank you so much for sending that spider. I see Scarlet standing outside my apartment and calling someone continuously. I guess she's calling me, and I left my mobile on the bed, so she's worried now. I am really in the mood to pull prank on the people, so I decide to pull prank on her as well. Stella, where were you? I'm waiting here for 15 minutes. I'm so sorry I was late because the tire punctured in the midst of the road and it took me time to fix it. Hey Scarlet, we lost it. I don't think we can convince him now. Wait, what? How? He left Scar. He went for the job. She comes and hugs me and says, don't worry Stella, we will try another things and convince him. No, Scar, you know he won't be convinced. I think the efforts will go in vain. Scarlet starts crying as she thought it was because of her that we couldn't convince him, so I decide to tell her the truth. Scar, promise me you won't kill me. Wait, what's wrong? Actually, I convinced him. I tell her how I convinced him and how that spider was the one who helped me, and then we hug each other and do our little happy dance. She brought me breakfast and it was my favorite pancakes. Woher, she knows how much I love them. Chapter 10. Hacker. I finally convinced Charles. And I won. I can't express my happiness in words. We will be leaving soon at 10:30 a.m. It's already 10 o'clock. So I quickly got dressed. I decided to go with a blue shirt and cream-colored jeans, a combination that felt just right for the occasion. I began my makeover routine, starting with a smooth layer of concealer to even out my complexion, followed by a dusting of compact powder to set it in place. Next, I applied sunscreen to protect my skin. I added a touch of blush for a healthy glow, some eyeliner to define my eyes, and a swipe of lipstick to complete the look. Finally, I sprayed my favorite perfume generously, letting the fresh scent envelop me. With a final glance in the mirror, I set my hair, ensuring every strand was perfectly in place. Satisfied with my appearance, I took a deep breath and smiled. I was ready to go. It is still 10:20 a.m., so I decide to wait and scroll my Insta. Woher, my favorite book was going to be published soon. Yes, I am a fan of fictional, knowledgeable books. I always like to carry my books around, and instead of socializing I just read my books. Kind of introverted. Damn it, I will have to stand in a long line for hours to get the first hardcover edition of this book, and it's today at 8 p.m. So I guess I will be leaving a little early today and then I will go and purchase the book. While I was thinking and making the calculations of how I can manage the time, I heard the doorbell ringing. I figured out it was Charles as it was already 10:30 a.m. So I grab all my purses, lip gloss, laptop and wear my black pencil heels. The shoe rack was literally full of shoes and then sneakers, Crocs, and I don't know what all, but I never wear them. I always love to wear these black pencil heels, although it's quite painful to walk in these heels, but somehow to keep my reputation I manage. Are you done, Jones? I guess we will be late, so I don't want to ruin my reputation. Can you hurry over? He shouts, standing at the door. Almost done. Coming. I see Charles standing over the door and a quite attractive outfit. He was wearing black shirt and black trouser. I swear black shirt on man is my another weakness, but I manage myself and ignore him successfully. It was still 10:20 a.m. So I decided to pass the time by scrolling through Instagram. As I browsed, I stumbled upon some exciting news. My favorite book was going to be published soon. I couldn't contain my excitement. I'm a huge fan of fictional and knowledgeable books. They're my escape from the world. Instead of socializing, I always carry my books around and immerse myself in their pages, embracing my introverted nature. However, a wave of anxiety washed over me as I realized that getting the first hardcover edition would mean standing in a long line for hours. The release event was scheduled for 8 p.m. tonight, and I would need to leave early to secure my copy. I started mentally calculating how to manage my time, balancing my work and my passion for this book. Lost in my thoughts, I was abruptly brought back to reality by the sound of the doorbell ringing. It was 10:30 a.m., right on time for Charles's arrival. I quickly grabbed my purses, lip gloss, laptop, and slipped on my black pencil heels. My shoe rack was overflowing with a variety of shoe sneakers, Crocs, and more, but I never wore them. Those black pencil heels were my go-to. Even though they were quite painful, I wore them to maintain my reputation, and I somehow managed to walk in them despite the discomfort. Are you done, Jones? We're going to be late, and I don't want to ruin my reputation. Can you hurry up? Charles shouted from the door, impatience evident in his voice. Almost done. Coming. I called back, hastily gathering my things. As I approached the door, I saw Charles standing there in a striking outfit. He was wearing a black shirt and black trousers, and I had to admit, a man in a black shirt was one of my weaknesses. The sight of him momentarily took my breath away, but I quickly composed myself and pushed those thoughts aside, successfully ignoring the attraction. Let's go, I said, stepping out and locking the door behind me. Charles gave me a once-over, probably noticing the effort I put into my appearance. "You always have to wear those heels, don't you?" he remarked with a smirk. "Reputation maintenance," I replied with a shrug, trying to hide my discomfort. We headed towards his car, and I mentally prepared myself for the busy day ahead, knowing that no matter what, I would make it to the book release event on time. I hope I get the first edition. We make our way to the parking lot and get comfortable in the car. Charles, once again, plays his sad song playlist. Seriously, who listens to these songs anymore? My ears were practically bleeding, and though I owe him one, I can't help but interrupt. "Can you please turn off this sad playlist of yours? It's already been a hectic day. My car, my rules, Jones." I lift my middle finger at him, and he just laughs. "Won't work on me, Jones. I don't care at all." We reach the office, which is about 30 minutes away from the orchids. To my annoyance, the chief is standing right at my desk. Whenever he's there, it means either a lecture or more work for me. "Good morning, Chief." "Morning, Stella. I see you followed my orders. And here is our hacker, Mr. Charles." The office was quite small, and I wasn't used to working in such confined spaces, but I didn't have any options. The chief ordered Stella to show me around and take me to my desk on the first floor. Stella did as he said, and I couldn't believe how cramped the rooms and desks were. How was I supposed to work here? "This is your desk," Stella said, "and if you need anything, don't call out for me. Manage on your own." With a grin, I replied, "I'm working for your company, so of course I'll disturb you if I need anything." I interrupted her again. Jones, actually I need a bigger room and more computers and laptops. Can I talk to the chief?" "Do whatever you want." I went down to the ground floor and entered the chief's office. "Good morning, Chief. May I come in?" "Mr. Charles, come on in. You're very welcome here." Thank you, Chief." "Thanks to you, Mr. Charles, for agreeing to help us despite your busy schedule. It's my pleasure, sir, to work with your company." "Pleasure. My foot." I wanted to run. I could hardly breathe in this small workplace. Yeah. So do you need anything?" "Yes, actually, that's what I came to talk about." "Is something wrong, Mr. Charles?" "Actually, the resources and space here are quite limited. My office is located 20 minutes away from here. Do you mind if I work there?" The chief replied quickly, I don't mind at all, but we need quick updates, and only our permanent employees have the right to access evidence from the crime scene. No offense, but it's company policy. No outsourced employee or outsider can access evidence without proper supervision. So, I think we can adjust it, but you'll have to take one of our employees with you. As you know, cell phones are evidence found from the children. "Fine, I don't mind." "Okay, so pack the stuff you need from your desk. I'll send one of my employees soon." I called my bodyguard and gave him a list of the things I needed from the first floor. Within 10 minutes, he brought everything I needed. It's been 15 minutes, and still, the chief hadn't sent the employee. What's with their rules and all? I decided to go up and talk to him, but then Stella walked in. If the chief had sent her to be my companion, I swear I was quitting here. She had a box in her hand. She came to my car and spoke up. "Why did you need another place? Can't you just work here? Now I'm stuck with you. Damn it." She kicked the door of my car. Seriously, this girl wanted to break my favorite car. What the heck is your problem? How dare you kick my car? Can you please get your ass in the car? I'm already done with everything. Fuck off, Jones. She was really the one who would be coming with me to the office. Could anything be worse than this? We headed to my office, which was far more spacious and had all my bodyguards around. Damn, it feels so good coming back from that hell to my office. The system is all set for hacking, so I don't have to work hard and set it all up again. Stella is waiting outside. I can now calmly do my work, sharing some memes for you all.